There's a strange kind of frustration most of us don't talk about. It's not the big failures, not the dramatic breakdowns. It's the quiet promises, the ones we make to ourselves at night. Tomorrow I'll wake up. Tomorrow I'll start working out. Tomorrow I'll finally be consistent. And then tomorrow comes. And somehow we don't keep our promises. And the worst part isn't breaking the habit, it's what it does to how we see ourselves. We start questioning our discipline, our willpower, and sometimes even our identity. Are we just not that person? But what if the problem was never motivation? What if the real struggle isn't laziness, but the system we are trying to operate within? Today's conversation isn't about productivity hacks. It's not about 5 a.m. routines. It's about the deep human gap between who we want to become and what we actually do. Before she built a platform to help others build better habits, she was someone trying to fix her own. This is a story about self doubt, identity, and courage to build something from your own struggle. This is a story about becoming. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Warm Story Show. Today, I'm joined by the founder of HabitVerse, Ms. Narthana Sharan. Let's begin. So, who were you before you started HabitVerse?
Hello. So before HabitVerse, I was a French professor and translator, and I am even now. But HabitVerse is my passion project.
Okay. And what did an ordinary day look like back then? I mean, before you started HabitVerse?
Before HabitVerse, my ordinary day, I would call it chaotic and zero routine. Every day depended on on what life threw at me. So because of this, I did not have the proper me time and also the usual routine work apart from sending kids to school and attending to the chores. There was no structure. My day depended on my mood, if you can call it that.
Okay. Interesting. So, which part of your life felt most out of control at that time?
Most out of control was the self-care is what I would call it. The intention and my action never matched. I wanted to really work out and have a routine for myself and follow um, the some of the passions like painting, but I never came around doing that. And I'm an ardent reader, and I also never happened to read for the past, you can say, 10 years.
Okay. Okay. So, when you had this inner struggle, right, was there a moment when you felt like, I know what I should be doing, but I'm not just doing it? So, have you ever felt that way?
Yes, I think constantly I kept feeling that way.
How did that make you feel as a person?
Restless, very restless, and even situations and the day-to-day happenings were very agitated me. The result of me being restless internally reflected in my outer world as well.
Okay. And did that affect your personal or professional life in any way?
My professional life, not much, because I could because it was my forte and I could handle it. And I was also a freelancer, so I was not into the 9 to 5 kind of lifestyle. So professional side was easy, but personal side, yes.
Okay. Okay. So, do you remember the moment when, the habits that you had in your life, right, that stopped became being a concept and instead it started becoming personal? Like, for example, when you started blaming yourself, right, for not showing up or for not
Mhm.
starting a habit that you wanted to do, for not working out. So, do you remember that moment that you started blaming yourself?
Yes. That's a very valid question if you ask me. Interesting. It was not an eureka moment. It started leaching into my system, into my thought process gradually. You set the intention of wanting to inculcate the habit of working out consistently. But then there is also this notion that being disciplined has to, uh, you'll have to do it like the military kind of way. That mindset, that understanding, the output that I was expecting and the practical life did not match. And gradually, you show up with your full potential for 4 days, exactly 4 days. That's the day your energy will go down. Gradually, I started blaming myself that it was me who was actually being bad.
You brought up a very interesting point, right? Like you have motivation for 4 days, and then once you just drop the ball, you start to question the systems around you, the support system, or the mental systems around you, right?
Exactly. The support system, you will even start questioning your life.
Mm,
So, yes,
yeah. When you started realizing that the problem
mm.
was not with you, or was not with motivation, and you started questioning systems, what was your thought process like?
Did I get that realization that blaming drains your energy? Take action, and for that action, what is happening here? Analyze, start analyzing, and then you build elastic habits.
Okay. Okay. So what is elastic habits actually?
Okay. Now you remember I mentioned about the military kind of discipline when it comes to habit building. So that system works in the military. It's a very good solid structure. But for us, the common man, the notion of discipline itself has to be changed. The meaning of the word discipline has to be changed. So that is when the role of elastic habits come in. And elastic habits are nothing but, again, I take out the working out example again. So for me, I want to identify myself as a person for whom working out and who is a very fitness conscious person. When I talk about elastic habits, it doesn't mean every day I'll have to work out for 40 minutes. It only means that today my day is packed. It's super packed with work, or maybe I'm in vacation. I'm outside of my routine. I'm outside of my house. I don't have the access to gym. So at this point, 5 minutes, I take only 5 minutes or maybe 2 minutes. I find a private spot wherever I am, do jumping jacks continuously for 2 minutes. You
Mm,
try that and see what happens to your heart rate. So
okay.
so that day, even if I do that, it is considered that I worked out for the day. This is
Mm.
called elastic habits. You inculcate the habit that you want to build irrespective of where you are and what is happening around you.
So you basically never give up on the habit, irrespective of what situation you're put into.
Exactly. So we never miss out to brush our teeth, do we? So that happens for every other habit.
Okay. Okay. What did you realize about habits that most people get wrong?
It is this elastic habit concept that most people get it wrong. People do not follow this. It was in one of the sessions that I was attending for my own personal growth that she explained the same concept, but with the terminologies that I picked up. So it is this, and the structure is what missing in a lot of people.
Okay. Okay. So we have heard so many podcasts, TED Talks, YouTube videos about habit formation, the power of habits, atomic habits, a lot of books, and so many speakers are into this habit formation, right? So there is a lot of awareness that, you know, small habits create big impact and things like that, right? So
Exactly.
before you started habitverse, there would have been a point when you realized that this was not only your problem, and
Mm,
this would also cater to a wider group of people, right?
yes.
What was that incident that really made you think that this was not your problem?
That incident was my own personal search. What happened? I was into this atomic habits, and another podcaster. He was one of a kind. His name is Ashdin Doctor. He is the habit coach. So that title did not even exist back then when he started.
Mm,
I really enjoy the way he speaks and the way he puts things out. So
mm,
Atomic Habits was a book I was reading at the same time and listening to his podcast. So things were very closely related.
okay.
That time, I started following all the tips and tricks and tools that they all give us. No? Atomic Habits,
Yeah.
like so many things. I'm doing it. And then came the consistency issue. I do it with all that motivation for 6, 7 days. Even 10 days, I push myself and do it because the motivation factor is stronger here. Then at that point, you give up. You take life happens, and then 2, 3 days, you either fall sick or you just don't follow the new routine that you're building. And
Mm,
there was nobody to come check in on me or to ask what is happening. Why is it that you stopped after that break? Why didn't you restart? Then there were again more productivity tools on the internet. There was one person who was doing a Facebook group, the 5 a.m. Club was
okay.
was where the accountability system was happening. But then I did not want it for 5 a.m. I don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning. Then I searched around the internet. It was missing. That accountability factor was missing. And so it was for me that I searched for. I realized it was not there. And then I thought, okay, might as well just do it.
Okay. So you realize that, since you had a struggle with maintaining the habits and there was no
Mm.
accountability, you thought this could also be a relatable problem for others.
And I figured out it was a relatable problem after putting up this question in my school group. We have a very active school group of friends with around 150 people. So I started conversing them, and everybody was like, me too, me too, me too. Everybody's putting their hands up. And I addressed around 21 problems. Every day I'm going to come talk about a problem. And it was all about almost habit building and how we perceive things. That was the output that I wanted. So back then I
Yes.
did not know where I was going, in which direction I was heading, or what the outcome was going to be. But I said, see, I have a problem and I want to resolve this. So this is why I'm
Mm.
doing this. It's a kind of a research project. So come in. And that was a validation factor for me when everybody said me too.
Okay. You have had your own fair amount of struggles, like you would have struggled in your personal life, professional life, you would have struggled with your habits, building consistency, finding accountability, and the whole story, right?
Mhm.
So, what was the most scariest part about starting HabitVerse, or even before starting HabitVerse? What were you most scared about?
Before starting HabitVerse, there was nothing to be very scared of, but I was a little worried. My mind processes things if I have better structure. So that structure was something that I was not able to see for myself. That feeling lost was one fear factor. The struggle part when it comes to after HabitVerse, this was an idea that did not exist in the market where I could take the framework of another brand or another company and then change the framework to my needs. Nothing of that sort existed. So I had to create from the scratch, test, trial, figure out what is working and what is not working.
Yeah.
So that was where I started. And after all the trial run and the with my friends group, when I started running all these challenges, we actually even had people who were consistent for 60 days, 120 days, consistently
Mm.
showing up yoga. And they were like, it was only because of this WhatsApp group that we are actually doing it. I never gave up on the days. The struggle was with my close friends, I got the validation, but I could not market myself as a product or as a service. And I had to figure all that out, which pushed me into the self doubt zone a lot of times. And also, there have been a lot of times that I wanted to give up. I was like, why am I even doing this? What benefit am I getting? But
Mm.
then it's almost like a soul soother, you can call it. So I just kept doing it. I took breaks, a lot of breaks. I kept coming back.
Okay. Okay. Nice. So you again brought up a interesting story, right? Like we all have some habits and we try to make it consistent and we find accountability, and then you saw that it was problem that many other people could face, but there are always challenges, like be it personal, professional, whatever it is. Life throws all kinds of hurdles at us, right? And you mentioned that you took breaks but you kept coming back again and again. What does it take to make sure that when you come back a little bit stronger?
Oh,
Or
that's a
how do you motivate yourself to come back again?
yes. So for that, the reason would be if your why is stronger, your the pull towards whatever you're building will become very natural. But when we come back from our breaks, we show a very different version of ourselves when we come back. And this coming back, the break also would have given you a good breathing space for you.
Mm.
Been very frustrated at one point when you took a break actually, or something would have in life would have happened. That breathing space would have been something that you had to have. So the why has to be stronger.
Okay. Okay. So I'm pretty sure, like, HabitVerse has a lot of features, right, for your clients and users, right?
Oh,
But
yes.
is there any one particular feature that stands out of all of those? What would that be?
The dopamine detox, because everybody, irrespective of what age we are from, the moment a human being is introduced the gadget called mobile phone into your hands, your life gets hijacked, if you ask me. So
Mm.
dopamine detox is one aspect that not many products existing in the market to resolve this problem. There are only, I mean, people are aware. There are a lot of podcasts and coaches coming and telling this, but there is no system to help us get out of the addiction we pushed into, out of the system that we are actually pushed into.
When you talk about dopamine detox and the increased use of mobile phones, right, and
Mhm.
mobile addiction, social media, etc. So now we have rehab centers for cell phone usage and addiction, right? But they probably operate at a psychological level, or they have specific treatment plans to get you out of that addiction, right? Similar to substance abuse and things like that.
Yes,
In your case, with the challenge that you have in HabitVerse, right, for the dopamine detox, there's no like one size fits all kind of thing.
exactly.
People have different kinds of challenges. So how do you how do you understand the customer or the client and then you work with them? How is that process?
Okay. So you are on point again. So what happens is the de-addiction centers and all of that, they go cold turkey and, they help you treat that. And that is for very severe cases. For us, we are talking about general, very, very common public. And there are people who attend classes on Zoom or on Google Meet in their mobile phone. So your mobile phone usage definitely is high. So specifically talking about dopamine detox, and this is not a standard protocol that they'll have to come and apply. Every single user has a customized plan that my brand provides for them. So we figure out their needs by asking tons of questions. Actually, we
Okay.
figure we figure out why they want to get out of the phone, and if they want to cut out the dopamine detox, because phone is not the problem. It is the
Mm,
rush that we are falling into. The shorts, the Instagram reels, all of those cause the dopamine rush, and hence we are glued into the phone. So we
okay.
figure which specific app or which specific behavior of their phone usage is the problem, and we provide them with smaller goals to begin with. That is,
Hmm.
we tell them, go cold turkey with your Instagram, uninstall for 3 days alone. And then
Okay.
reinstall your app after 3 days. But then first to
Okay.
give them the taster as to what happens if you don't have that app. Instead, you can use it in the browser. This is very, very, you give it all to them, but you create more friction in between in the process. So
Mm,
make them realize, and you introduce them to different tools, because what works for one will not work for another. You create friction in all possible forms. I even tell my users to keep the phone in the cupboard, lock the key, go give the key to somebody for a while. Come sit for your deep work. Come sit for your deep work session. Finish your work,
yeah.
then you get the key. So,
Mm,
so
okay.
we do it one on one. We ask what is happening, and we give them the options to choose.
Mm, okay. Okay. Interesting. You mentioned one more thing, right? Like sometimes people have different levels of addiction, right? Some
Mm,
may not even be able to delete Instagram for one day or maybe even half a day.
yes.
And there would be people who are like in the lower levels of addiction who might be able to do that. There could be people who delete it, but then reinstall without
In a
even
matter
telling
of
you or
hours.
something.
Yes.
So how do you deal with dropouts? And when I mean dropouts, people who just drop out of the challenge, do you really try to motivate them to come back, or do you just try and then just let it go, or how does it work?
Okay. So it's a very nice question. I think I'm telling this for all your questions, but you are always on point when you ask it. What happens? There are dropouts, and this is almost like we're dealing with addictions. There are relapses. What we do is, I've tried everything where you go behind them, you tell them, no, no, you come, you do it. It was burning my energy, honestly, and it was
Mm,
working out. It has to come from the person. See, I am a person who is preaching dopamine detox, but ask me, you go see my screen time usage, and I've come down from 9 hours, but it's difficult. I know the difficulty very well. From
yeah.
9 hours to 6 hours is a big deal, but it took a lot of time. And for
Mm,
me, reach here and 6 hours. And there are users for me who feel that 4 hours of phone usage or Insta Instagram is too much only, but 4 hours of entire phone usage itself for them, they feel it's too much.
mm,
Coming back to the question, no, I tried pulling them back. It did not work. It has to come from them. It's like I let them take the break, but I give them a very cushioned, warm welcome to come back. And I keep reminding them that come back, take another challenge. This is why the 21-day concept came in. It was mainly for this. When you think of long term, people get scared. I'm like, will I be able to do this? No chance. It's
Correct.
either will I be able to do this, or the frustration or the lack of even interest where I don't even want to do it. So
Yeah.
we brought in the 21-day concept, and you take up for the 21 days, and then you take a break, go back to your own life, come back the 21 days. This is the tool that helped me retain users, where the 21 days, if they're working on a project, for example, one of my user is a coder, and
Mhm.
he is sitting and coding. In between, she gets super distracted, and that focus was missing. So
Mhm.
she comes to me, takes up the challenge, and we also give promising rewards to the
Okay.
people. So this is another concept to hold them. But yeah, these 21 days, she finishes the project, she's a freelancer, she finishes the project, gets the money,
Mhm.
gets well paid, and then she goes back to her own life. So this is happy.
Yeah.
This is the need. This much, if I abstain myself, I'm happy. So we cater to people of that sort.
I
But
see.
we keep playing around. That's the only way that it works right now.
True. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely an experimentation kind of thing, right? Because as I said, like there's no one size fits all. We've talked about dopamine detox, right? And I've seen other challenges also that you offer to your users, and I believe some of these challenges are as less than 250 rupees or $3 kind of thing. Could you just briefly talk about your other challenges or other themes that you offer?
Yes. So habit building is a 360-degree aspect. You can't really put that inside a niche. So we wanted to cater to
Right.
all of the habits. But then to market ourselves, we'll have to, give names. So one primary thing is movement. So this is where you bring in, 20 days, you show up one day. The next day you sit for, just show up for 3 minutes. It works.
Yeah.
Mental health is a very gray area, if you ask me. But we do
Mm.
offer and under the mental health habits, we offer gratitude challenge, gentle parenting challenge, because right now all of my friends, we're all in the parenting group.
Yeah.
So everybody's pain point was, I yell at my kids and then I feel very bad. I don't want to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very relatable problem actually.
True. And it's so yeah, for that, we just bringing in the awareness will do the work, will do
Mm.
wonders, if you ask me. So Jerry Care challenge was a user came and asked, it would be
Uh,
nice if you built a Gary Care challenge. I was like, yes, we will do it. So that's basically this user was busy with her own career and her own family life. She keeps missing to make a simple call to her mother, or she wants
uh,
to. The
okay.
intention reaction mismatch is where we come in. We simply send a
Uh,
reminder. And because we do not have a separate app, we work on WhatsApp. The access
mm.
to users is instant. We're all
Okay.
connected on WhatsApp almost every day.
Okay.
So the connect is instant. That is why I'm able to reach out to the users comfortably. And
Mm.
a simple reminder as to, did you call your mother? The thing is, I don't go and create my user's life. I ask them questions. They give me their pain points. What is it that they want from me? And all I have to do is, do you just order the medicines today? You wanted to do that. All this we feed in the system. I mean, I was doing it manually when we started off, but now we have a system building for that.
Okay. Okay. Nice. It's, I mean, very interesting. At least the Jerry Care, yeah. I mean, a lot of people
Uh,
nowadays in the
it-
busy lives, right? They forget the small things, right? And
yes.
it's kind of pitiful that we are in this state, but at least something is there to support us to get back to normalcy, also, which is something that should be appreciated. Okay, so you would have had like so many different clients, users, a lot of experiences, right? Both positive and negative. If you would like to share one user story that made it all worth it, all your struggles, all your pain, all the follow ups, all the, the bashing or the struggles, whatever it is, right? But
Mhm.
if there's just one story that made it all worth it, what would it be? And you can feel free to, use a different name, use my name if it helps, to kind of make sure the privacy is there. That's fine too.
Yes, actually, that was needed. Yes, there was one. Beautiful user. And for a long time, I thought I was very efficiently able to provide her my services because it was female. I
Mm.
thought because I was a female and she was a female, I could connect well. But no, after her story, I got a very similar user again, and it was of the other sex. So it was a male, and the impact was similar. So at that point, I mean, here I want to note that irrespective of the gender, the impact that we have on a user is on a very similar level. Number one. So this user story coming back, let's call her Suganya.
Okay.
So she was a friend of friend of friend. Okay. So we got introduced. Yes, not even a friend of friend. So we got introduced, and her friend said, you know what, you should go talk to her. She will help you with your problem. You know, two friends usually rant and then you try to give solutions. So she said, she is in a trial phase. You should go talk to her. So I onboarded her. And at that point, I had stopped providing any service for free. It was either value exchange or you'll have to pay me some base amount.
Okay.
All that was, I had to testify if my system and my ideas were actually working.
Mm.
She was ready to pay. And so we started. Her problem was similar to mine, but it was on another parallel zone, you can call it. She's a freelancer. She's a coder. She has kids. She had to manage her chores. She also wanted to pursue higher studies because madam is thinking that because she did not have a proper 9 to 5 job, she is
Okay.
thinking she's not being very productive. She enrolled herself in a course, and then she felt stuck. She couldn't balance everything.
I see.
Then we sit, we start talking. I ask her questions. So again, because I'm talking about this scenario, in the problem habit building aspect, the one major problem that everybody would face, but we're not aware, is that we put a lot on our plates. Imagine you're eating food, and wouldn't it be nice if you had a serve of 3 items on your plate, irrespective of what quantity is in. You only have 3 items on your plate. You finish eating it, and then you go help yourself with another new item. But the weddings we go, we'll dump our plate with, let's say there are 20 counters. What will happen if you put all the 20 items on your plate? So that was happening with her in her habits. And not just course, she wanted to do arts as well. And she wanted to do everything, be there everywhere. Then I was also sitting and, figuring out, did you do this? Did you do that? Sending reminders. Then I realized, no, this is not working. We are not on the right track. We're doing some mistake. Let me analyze what's happening. When we work on such people, your mind is constantly with them. Even if you are here doing your chores at home, you're at the back of your mind, this is suggested that please let go of all these classes for a while. Finish your coding projects. So it was her again. It was of the same person where I told, 21-day detox, finish your coding projects, then come back, take a break. So
Mm.
she takes breaks. This is the time when she does her passion projects,
Okay.
drawing, Zumba, and all of that. But we
Yeah.
clear it was because of this specific user that I even had I could build a solid system that I could cater to any need.
Okay.
Yeah. Then now she is taking it very beautifully. She's completed her course and she's enrolled herself for classes with her kids now. So that way,
Nice.
the time that you get to spend with your kids as well as for yourself, it all comes together.
Ideal work-life balance that we all dream about, right?
Exactly, ideal work-life balance.
That was a very beautiful story. There was a struggle, and then, a lot of us can actually relate to it, right? When we want to really improve ourselves, we start with a lot of things at a time, but
No.
we fail to realize that efficiency comes only when we start, small things, or we try the habit stacking kind of concept, right? So that's actually a very good story. Thanks for sharing that. And where there is a positive side of things, there would also be a negative side of things. Was there any particular user story that you would like to share that made you feel, okay, I understand, like, there are people like this, but I still want to continue on my journey?
Okay. Honestly, I still did not scale up to that extent where I faced any bitter experiences. So
Okay.
I still deal only with very optimistic people. But personally, if you ask me, there is one bitter part that I feel in all the work that I'm doing, the dropouts. People, when they
Mm.
drop out, it makes me feel that I am failing. It took some
Mm.
time for me to understand that no, maybe your system is failing them, or maybe they do not have the drive to take up this. Maybe this is not their cup of tea. But
Okay.
that is the one bitter or negative aspect, you can call it that. But now I'm learning to, draw my boundaries and also accept my abilities and what do you call that? This is my level. I cannot push myself after this. So,
Okay. 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 So, what is the best way to reach out to you? I mean, in case someone is interested in this service, right? Building consistent habits. What is the best way to reach out to you and to HabitVerse?
WhatsApp again, we have our website up live and running. So once we enter website, we'll have channels where you join now, click the link. So the moment they click, they'll be redirected to my WhatsApp access.
Okay. And is this also applicable for people outside India, or is it currently restricted only to India?
No, outside India also. So I have a person who's working from Abu Dhabi. He happens to be an Indian. Yes, outside India as well. In my system, we just feed the correct time zone. I work in the Indian time zone. I understand only that time concept, but we
Yeah.
cater to anybody,
Okay.
anybody
Okay.
from the world.
Okay. Okay. Cool. People listening to this show, right? If I mean, a lot of people, I'm sure they would feel stuck in a loop, right? What do you want them to hear? Like, not as a founder, but as a person. What would be one key takeaway that you would want them to listen to?
Okay. Life can feel overwhelming at times. A person can feel lost, clueless, but there's always a way out. Maybe it's just that you're not looking in other directions. You know to deal with the situation in one certain way.
Mm.
Okay. So that is not the only way. There are other perceptions, there are other ways, there are tons of solutions that we are not aware of. So be open to new ideas and, just accept yourself in the first place. That's what I would tell you.
Okay. Cool. All right. Thank you so much for taking the time today to talk with us. And, I hope you had a good interview experience also. And I look forward to, having you on board again on the Warm Story Show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.